Good morning. Morning.
Hello. Morning.
What time is it? It's morning for me. It's only 11:30 here. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
It's Monday.
It is a Monday. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us on True Vibe. We're so excited to be back. I'm excited to see my beautiful ladies here, but we also have a special guest today. But first, I kind of want to introduce you guys to who we are and what we are doing here. This is True Vibe. This is a space for our collective followers of each of our different companies here to access relevant quality travel content in a laid back and fun way. We like you to grab a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. We don't judge. And join us for talk about travel, dreaming about amazing destinations, and really just have a place to come and get the most relevant information that you need right now. So today we have a fun guest, like we were saying, but we hope that you guys ask any questions that you have in the chat. Also, if you're watching the replay, feel free to leave them in there as well, and we will get back to you. We also ask you guys to give us a little bit of grace. For those of you who have been here before, there are dogs and children, and who knows what else happening around us. So like we said, this is laid back. We want you guys to come and join the conversation and just hang out with us for a little bit. So thank you guys for being here.
Yeah. So that's Chelsea. We'll drop our business names on.
Okay.
Here's Beth.
I'm Chelsea with Anywhere Everywhere Travel. We have Beth Rowan with Tapestry Travel.
Hey guys.
And Emily Oz over here with Signpost Destination. Sorry, I didn't do our intro.
It's okay. Are we ready to bring our guest in?
I think so.
All right, ready? Here we go.
Hello.
Hey, John.
Hey.
How's it going? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Yeah, have a great Monday.
Thanks for having me.
So this is Jay Johnson. He is president of Coastline Travel, and Coastline Travel is both an agency and what we refer to as a host agency. So the business model of us travel advisors is sort of like a realtor, where we have our own businesses, but we belong to a host agency. So Chelsea and I belong to Coastline Travel, that Jay is president of, and Emily will talk a little bit about hers. But what a host agency does for us is it, besides providing like lovely support and back office support, it also ties us into a fantastic worldwide collection of travel partners that, suppliers of travel that we work with. So Coastline, Jay, he'll tell us a little bit more about his deal. But yeah, we love Coastline. They're super supportive, and they've got relationships with people all over the world. So
I love Coastline, but I'm not at Coastline.
Oh, thank you.
One day.
Yeah, fun. Even during a pandemic, we still try and find ways to have fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's been such a blessing to be a part of Coastline, because it really is like a family. I love it, and like you said, the partnerships are amazing. I feel very blessed. So yeah.
So, and then
thank you.
also,
we try and be very open, and obviously this is a really down time for all of us. But you have to keep going. You have to keep plugging away. You have to keep it. You got to keep positive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful that for the three of us that we have gotten to know each other. We actually all met through a training program that we did, kind of like a totally, not a host agency. It's just a travel training, right? We learned marketing and things like that. That's how we got connected, which is how we all have different agencies too. So I'm under Travel Quest. But the one thing, sort of like what Beth was saying, is that every agent, when you start, we have our own businesses, you set up your business, but you kind of pick your host agency based on who you are and how you run your business and what kind of clients you're serving. So every host agency has different benefits and amenities and relationships. So you kind of just pick based on that and what's the best fit and what's a great relationship for us to have with the host agency, and then also what we can provide together for our clients. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and actually Chelsea and I started out at different ones. It was in the middle of the pandemic, we switched. I was recommended to Coastline and have happily been living there for about a year, I guess. But
Yeah, so it really does, for those who don't understand, choosing your travel advisor and really having conversations based on the type of travel that you want to do is important. Because I was having conversations with clients with my previous host agency, and I wasn't able to offer the things that I wanted to be able to offer. And so it was kind of like my hands were tied. And so now with Coastline, I feel so great about having these unbelievable partnerships across the world, that I can offer amazing amenities and relationships and things to my clients that are more in line with who I am and who I want to serve. So that's kind of why we're just kind of introducing you who Jay is and what this is. And so you guys can kind of understand a little of the behind the scenes of what travel advisors do.
Did you guys all join by VCTA? Is that how you guys all met?
No, so we did. It was a marketing program, Jay. It wasn't really a travel program.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it was a marketing program geared towards travel advisors, but not. It wasn't like how to book or how to do whatever. So yeah, it was a marketing program that. The best thing that came out of it was these two lovely ladies in my life.
We all made the best out of that.
Yeah, I like the analogy that travel is a lot like a real estate agency, because it's very similar the way how you're all independent contractors. You own your own businesses, but you are part of maybe a host, just like in real estate. It's kind of the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, so we I can call somebody up, and if I called, I don't know, the director of sales at the Ritz-Carlton and said, "Hi, I'm Beth Rowan," they're going to be like, "That's nice." But if I say I'm with Coastline, they have a really deep relationship with Jay, and it sort of opens doors that I couldn't do by myself. I wouldn't have it.
I spent a lot of time cultivating those relationships with the suppliers, because the suppliers are the ones that make us look great. Anytime you have a guest traveling somewhere and that the GM personally meets them and takes care of them, it makes such a huge difference in the upgrades and everything else.
Yeah, my husband and son had that experience this last weekend when they stayed with a preferred hotel, and so I booked that, and they felt like royalty when they walked in the room. They were greeted by name, had a little treat waiting for them, got upgraded, all of that. So it's awesome to see it firsthand, knowing what those partnerships can do for you.
I have clients. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to do any good marketing because they're at the same Ritz-Carlton in Cancun that Ted Cruz flew down to, and they're both Texas residents. So I was like,
it's funny.
They have. It's been fabulous. It was pretty empty, but they've been upgraded, and they couldn't. By themselves, they couldn't get reservations at their two big restaurants down there, but the concierge, I contacted them and they got them in. And so, it's thanks, Jay, for the good relationship.
I was checking into the Four Seasons in Mexico City, and all these big giant guys came in, huge guys, suits and everything else. They all come running in, and I'm looking, what the heck is going on? Literally minutes later, Hillary Clinton walked in, and they scrambled me out and everything else. It was so fun. I was sitting there like, oh my gosh, that's Hillary Clinton. So cool. I'll never forget it. These guys were huge, though. I would not mess with those guys. The service guys, man, they were big. Yeah, good times.
Jay, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about Coastline?
Yeah, sure. I fell into this job. I wouldn't even call it a job. It's almost like it's a hobby that you get paid for. And I fell into it years ago. I was in college, and I needed a part-time job. And my family owned a brick and mortar travel agency over by Disneyland. And I said, "Hey, Dad, can I help out around the office? I need a little money." Actually, I needed beer money, to be perfectly honest. He said, "Yeah, you can come, you can help, you can stamp brochures and all these other dumb little jobs." And so I did, and I came in, and my job was to do the ARC report and all these fun little things. I would drive around airline tickets back when you used to get paper tickets, and I would drive around to the various businesses. And I never thought it was going to be what I was going to have a career doing, but the longer I stayed there, the more I realized, this is a pretty fun industry.
Yeah.
And I went and I did some fam trips. I took some friends surfing down to Costa Rica, and I went to Hawaii, and it's, this is all right. I can do this. This is way better than coaching football. I mean, this is I'm actually getting to see the world. And it's funny is that once you get that travel bug, it never leaves you. And I don't see a lot of like ex-travel advisors or ex-Four Seasons employees doing things outside of travel. Once you get into it, and I mean, I'm sure you guys know too. It's like once you get into it, it's almost impossible to leave because it becomes addicting. Because the next thing, first off, you're not really selling a product. You're selling dreams. You're selling, fun adventures. So it's not like you're selling like used cars or used tires, some dumb thing like that. Something that a person has to have. They don't want it, but they need to have it. You're selling travel for people who are excited about going. So it's not like I'm not a salesperson at all. I love to talk about travel. And so it just becomes kind of like a natural thing. You start to talk to them about places and like, oh yeah, when you go to Tanzania, you got to do this, or you got to go to Bhutan. Oh my gosh, you have to stay at this hotel. And it's not even, you're not even selling, you're just having fun. I mean, pre-pandemic, obviously, I would go into cocktail parties and parties, whatnot. And, people would always come up and they always loved to talk to me because I traveled. And I loved talking to them too, because it was just so much fun talking about like where all the places you've been. And I always like to ask, like, what's your favorite place you've ever been? Or what's your favorite country? Or what's your favorite city? And where's a place that maybe you would never go back to? Where's a place you can't wait to go back to? And all that stuff. So it's fun. Then like you want to learn about them and how they like to travel. I came up with this thing called the IPA test. And I think I call it the IPA test because I do like beer. Basically, it means it's immersion, participation, and adventure. And basically what it comes down to is like, what is your level of participation? I mean, when you go to, let's say, China and you see the Great Wall, do you want to just go and walk on the Great Wall and see it? Or do you want to go and learn how it was built and maybe even go and try and help them repair it? Because there's place you can go outside of Beijing where they will allow you to go and help restore the wall. So some people like to do that. Some people like to just sit and watch. That's fine. And also, like, what's your level of adventure? Like do you want to take tango lessons in Argentina, or do you just want to watch them dance? Which is, I mean, basically what this IPA test is it rates where you are in your type of travel. And there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. It's fun to talk to people about what is interesting to them. And I have a lot of clients, all they want to do, they want to go to Maui and lay on a beach and do nothing. And that's totally fine. And I know other people, when they would go crazy if they did that. And it's just, there's something about travel. I just love talking to people about it. And I can do it nonstop. I never get tired of it.
We've been talking about that a lot lately. It's like it's always the thing you can come back to. It always is. Mm-hmm.
And it connects people to travel.
And who doesn't like to travel? And even if it's just going, 20 miles away to a casino, I mean, to them that's traveling. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But everyone likes to explore. I think it's just like in a human nature that we want to explore, and it's just, I don't know, it's fun.
One of the things you mentioned was that you're not in sales. And I think that is really what we talk about a lot on here, is that we don't consider ourselves salespeople. We consider ourselves service industry.
Yeah.
We really are just about connecting you with what it is that you want. So whether it's, a $85 a night or, a $10,000 a night, whatever that looks like for you, figure that out and, we'll help you find that. So
it's never our idea. It's never like, here's this cool trip, we want you to take this trip. It's let's have these conversations and talk about what it is that you're seeking, and we're going to help get you there. We're going to connect you to that.
Yeah.
I had a student interview me last week. She's doing a thesis on technology and how it's affected the hospitality industry. And she asked if I would not mind being interviewed. And I said, sure, that sounds great. So one of her questions was, how does technology, how has it changed your job, your field? Has it made it harder? I'm like, no, my gosh, it's made it so much easier. Because quite frankly, it's the getting from point A to point B is the boring part. The fun part is talking about getting from point A to point B. I mean, the sitting there and actually making the airline reservation and going in and making the hotel reservation, that's kind of boring stuff to me. I just like talking about it. And so what technology has allowed in our industry is that it's made everyone a bit of an expert in travel. When I first got into it, the whole thing about being a travel agent was exactly that. You were an agent. Somebody came to you. They said they need to get to Chicago or whatever. So your job was to get them from point A to point B. You hand them a ticket, you find them a hotel, and away they go. And a lot of times you send people sight unseen. You didn't know if this hotel was nice. You got this big giant book, and it was an OAG, and it was huge. And you would flip through it, and you would say, okay, this hotel is close to O'Hare Airport. Yeah, perfect. Stay there. It's $50 a night. You'll love it. And you didn't know, you'd never been there before. But now with technology, everyone has a little bit more of they know more than they used to. So instead of somebody just coming in and say, okay, tell me where to go, it's now become a collaboration. And travel is, so people don't just come to me and say, I want to go somewhere. They know where they want to go. They've already done the research on it. So what happens is it becomes like more of a conversation, a collaboration, and that's really fun. That's that whole IPA test. That's why we designed it, because we realized people were coming to us that were way more knowledgeable than they used to. Like my parents, they still don't even use the internet barely. And they would just call somebody up and say, I want to go on a cruise, and they would take care of everything. It's not like that anymore. And thank goodness, because it's fun now. It's way more fun. It's more time consuming, but it's more fun.
It really is.
Yeah.
Given all of that, let's talk about what's happening in travel. So a couple of things. Like, what would you say people can be excited about in travel right now? I mean, post-COVID, not post-COVID, obviously happening, but like, where are we headed?
Well, I'm very optimistic, and I know it's a very much of a cliche to say that like every day we're one day closer and all that, but it really is true. I mean, this is not sustainable. At some point, this will eventually end, and people will start to travel again. I think we're starting to see it now. We're talking about Boris Johnson and opening up Great Britain, which sounds fantastic. I think that the hardest thing right now is the unknown. And what we're getting, the biggest issue is people are coming to us. They want to go. There's definitely demand out there, but the issue is people are afraid to make commitments because they obviously don't know what's going to happen in 6 months. So everyone's kind of sitting there waiting. So we're just waiting for some direction, and that is going to happen, and it's starting to happen now. I think with Boris Johnson today kind of laying out the roadmap of when things are going to start opening back up again is a huge help. Huge help.
Yeah.
So,
I have to say, I think that there's a lot of companies in the travel industry that have really stepped up. And I've been impressed by that. With an industry that's been so hurt by this, the number of them that have come up and they've decreased deposits, or they've really narrowed when your final payment has to be done, or they've made their refund and change policies. And I mean, this has ravaged a lot of these companies, but they've stepped up. They understand that people are nervous, and so I think that they're doing, and honestly, I won't, and I know that Chelsea and Emily and I have talked about this, I really won't work with a company that doesn't have that kind of flexibility. We have to have it right now. And if we're going to increase, people wanting to travel again, we need to keep that in mind. It's a little nerve-wracking.
I think it's been a blessing as a new advisor actually to start during all of this, because being able to really see companies' true colors and how they're coming out and how they're reacting to things, and knowing, okay, that's not a company I'm going to work with in the future. This is, these are the people that I really need to stick with. It's been a blessing. And I think everybody collectively raising the bar, I don't think it's stuff that's going to go away. I really do think it's things that are going to end up staying kind of in place with an easy cancellation policy and flexibility, and really the level of service. I've got guests that are in Punta Cana right now, and they said when they got there, everything was perfect. The level of service was incredible. And so it's like, okay, you know, like I think that bar being raised it's incredible for all of us, you know, and a lot of bad things have happened this last year, but I think it just kind of reset a standard for the entire industry as a whole.
Yeah, we definitely have a naughty list that we've started. The naughty and nice list. And, you know, fortunately, most are on the nice list. There's not that many on the naughty list. And the ones, even the ones that are on that quote unquote naughty list, you know, I never want to pass judgment on why they're doing what they're doing. It may be, they just may not have any other choice. I mean, that might be it. But I don't know. You see some of these guys, and I'm not going to name any companies or anything else, but you see them in the news and they're sitting on their yachts and stuff like that. It's like, okay, guys, seriously. Okay, how bad is it for you right now? Seriously. Mm-hmm. For the most part, though, most of the companies have been pretty good. And I agree. The changing of the cancellation penalties, I hope that stuff doesn't go away. I mean, I hope they never put people back in the middle seat again.
Yeah. That would be nice.
You know,
it's great though, because our travelers are adjusting as well, right? So everything that I've booked, almost all travelers are using travel insurance, which is something we've always suggested, but they're all like, we don't even know anything about it, but just sign us up because we know we need it. Or understanding that certain airlines, instead of just going with the cheapest airline, they're you know, really like love that Delta, I'm just going to say it. Delta's doing such a great job. And so everybody's hopping on and going. And so I think it's great for everybody together. Are there any trends that you're seeing as like what you think for the end of this year? Like where are people heading or what, you know, what would you suggest to people that are wanting to travel?
Well, I think until things really start to open up, you're still going to see a lot of demand for domestic, and obviously, which is fine. And we have a big country, and there's a lot of places you can go. I think it's still going to be really tricky to go overseas until they change some of the rules about like having to get the test to come back. It is definitely opening things up. I'll give you an example of like Hawaii. You know, for the longest time, Hawaii was completely shut down, and now for us, you have to take a COVID test to go, and that's pretty simple to do. It's easy now for the most part. It's booming. I mean, I can't tell you how much business we've done to Hawaii over the last few months, ever since they opened it up, because it's a pretty simple test. You understand the rules. You don't. The biggest fear about leaving right now out of the country is you obviously have to have a negative test to come back in, and people are afraid they're not going to be able to get back into the country. Right. So it's made it very difficult to sell places like, say, Mexico right now. They go down there, they're having a great time, then all of a sudden they find out they can't get back into the country because they have a positive test. And you're going to be stuck in a hospital in Mexico for 2 weeks, which may or may not be the best thing. And you know, you can't take that chance. So people with kids and stuff like that, it just stopped the travel down there. It'll eventually start to come back. People will start to get comfortable with it. But until things really start to open or loosen up with the rules, and I don't know when that's going to be. Obviously, the numbers have to drop a lot. You're going to see a lot of domestic travel. Yeah. Which is fine.
There's a lot of beautiful places here. There really are. I think it's cool too, because people are thinking outside of the box. You know, they're like, oh, well, we could go and see the national parks, or we could, you know, go to Arizona, like we were talking about, like, you know, beautiful places, or Key West, like
Key West.
Yeah, and also Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands too. You have to have a test to get into them, but you don't have to have a test to get back. So.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, in Puerto Rico, I love Puerto Rico. I've had some great stays down there, some great hotels. And once you get out of San Juan, I mean, there's some beautiful beaches, stunning beaches.
Mm-hmm.
It's very exciting, man. I cannot wait for warmth. We know you're in the nice warm sunshine. Not all of us are, Jay.
It's a little chilly this morning, but other than that, it's warm enough out here.
I believe it's 12 degrees today here from up to 8. So, what would you say to someone who is putting off travel? right now. Like they're just not sure. What would you say to that person?
Well, I understand why I understand why they don't want to travel right now, and you have to be comfortable. But like again, this thing is going to end, and my biggest fear is that if you don't make some plans for the future, you're not going to have a chance to. And what's going to happen is, like, there is so much pent up demand. And you have all the people that were supposed to travel in 2020. A lot of those people that were supposed to go to these lodges in Africa and everywhere else, they took those reservations and they just moved them into 21. So if you don't have a travel planned right now for, say, later on for 21 or even into 22, you might be too late. So my biggest fear is people are going to say, okay, you know what, the numbers are down. I'm ready to travel. I want to go somewhere next week. You're not going to be able to go, because there is already now so many of these cruise lines. You know, the Regent Seven Seas 2022 World Cruise sold out within a week. It's gone for 2022. It's gone because all the people that were planning on going in 20 and 21, as soon as they opened up the books on that, they grabbed all the space. And that's what's happening in places like in Africa too, where these lodges are tiny. They're not building more lodges right now. I mean, there's not a lot of infrastructure going into new builds and hotels and cruise ships and stuff like that. Obviously, all these companies have been hurting, so they're trying to keep the cash for obvious reasons. So we're going to have the complete opposite of what we've been having for the last year, which is you have that all this like supply, but there's no demand because nobody wants to go right now because you can't or whatever. But the hotels are empty, the cruise lines are empty. There's just all this space sitting around. It's going to be the complete opposite next year. And what's going to happen is there's going to be plenty of demand. There's not going to be enough supply. So that's my biggest fear. So what I've been trying to tell people is say, get a reservation on the books. First off, it's going to give you something to look forward to, because everyone, when you have a vacation ahead, that you're looking forward to, you're just, everything about your life just gets a little bit better because you're just thinking about it. And quite honestly, most of the time, thinking about that trip and planning about it and thinking about it and dreaming about it is actually better than the damn trip. Seriously, you can sit, you be talking about getting a house in Tuscany. I can daydream about it for months and months. You get there, oh, it's great. And it's fun, but it's just the anticipation. So first off, you get this anticipation, have something to look forward to. But more importantly, though, is that you need to get your names, your reservations in there. And just we were saying earlier, it's not like you're going to lose your money, because all the hotels and cruise lines, they're being really generous about cancellations and whatnot. I strongly suggest finding a place that you guys want to go with your family, your friends. Get it locked in now. Get it under deposit. Just get it booked. If you wait until this thing ends, you're going to have to go another year of traveling domestically before you can actually go somewhere, because all the things are going to be sold out.
That sounds horrible.
I'm worried about it. I sound like those crazy guys, but I'm sorry to you. If you don't start getting things planned now for the fall or even the 22, and you decide you want to wait for this thing to end, you've waited too long.
It's really funny because we've all been saying the same thing, whether it's in our emails or our social media posts or on these calls, we've all been saying the exact same thing. And I think at this point, people are like, yeah. But then as soon as they start traveling, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have listened,
It's something that's definitely changed. Like, before all of this, you could look 3 to 6 months out and be like, oh, I want to go to St. Lucia for a week. And you could just jump on and book it. No big deal. You can't. We don't have the luxury of being able to book in that short window anymore. You really need all the time, and just to find anything. So
to find and then to organize all of that as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the space that is open right now, like in Hawaii, oh my gosh, they're charging a lot. We have some people that are at the Four Seasons right now in Hawaii, and the average night, it's crazy. But the people are paying it. They're paying, frankly, too much, but they're so desperate to go somewhere, so they're doing it. So,
Okay, tell us one of your favorite travel memories.
Oh,
we got to dream a little bit on these calls.
Yeah. Anytime it talks about like dreams of travel, it always goes back to Africa. There is no place on this planet that's more magical. than Africa. I mean, and it's one of those places that you can talk about it. It's like, oh my gosh, it's these giraffes and elephants, all this stuff. Until you go and actually see it, I can talk for an hour about it, and it's like, yeah, it sounds great. But until you actually land and you look out your window and you see giraffes walking by you, then you realize, oh my gosh, this place is absolutely amazing. And I went on my 50th birthday. I took my two kids, my wife, and flew out to Tanzania and Kenya. And I desperately wanted to see a crossing of the wildebeest across the Mara River. And I've seen it, but I really wanted my kids to see it, because I think it's one of those things, once you see that crossing, you'll never forget it. It's just amazing. The problem is, animals are animals, and you have to wait. You're not in their time. So we're sitting on the side of the Mara River, patiently waiting. I've drank all my Tusker beers. I've got nothing else to drink. Kids, the lodge we were staying at had a pool. The kids just wanted to go back. They wanted to go swimming. They wanted to eat ice cream. And they were done sitting in the hot car. And I'd say, no, just 5 more minutes. Just 5 more minutes. And this kept going on. Kids were getting upset, and it was just getting to the point. It's like, all right, you know what? It's not worth it. And I finally said, all right, told the guide, all right, just let's go. I'm so bummed right now, because I know if you guys just wait a little bit longer, you're going to see this thing. When he was all right. He started the car, and I don't know if it was the noise of the car or whatever it is. Next thing you know, this big giant wildebeest, which was right in front of us, jumped in the water. I think it actually scared him or something. I just startled him or something like that. He just jumped in the water. And as soon as he started going across, all these other wildebeest, hundreds and hundreds of wildebeest right in front of us, going all around our car into the water. It was the most amazing thing. A little scary, but it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And then all of a sudden you see all these little like little eyes popping up in the water, these crocodiles. I didn't know they were even there. And you saw them like popping up, and there's a hull kind of moving in. It got a little gruesome, I have to admit, but I'm telling you, it's one of those things that I will never forget. My kids will never forget. And we even joke about it now, about like, have patience. Remember, have patience. Remember, you're going to miss out. I have so many memories, but Africa, you can't beat it. And that's a place that if somebody said tomorrow, hey, I'm going to Africa, do you want to? Yeah, I'd go.
Yeah, I would do the same thing. I'm a huge fan. And the ladies have heard me say this before. It's the only place, and I've been to a lot of places in the world, but it's the only place in the world where we're not at the top of the food chain. It's sort of, it's like interesting. It becomes it's not just amazing, but it becomes a little humbling too, like, I don't know, but I'm planning a trip for a couple right now that are going to go over, and she's not as keen on seeing the animals. And I'm like, you have to, because you don't know what you're missing until you see it. Because it's amazing, especially in South Africa. If you go to the private concessions, and you can go off track, and I've been in gullies, and oh God, yeah, it's just amazing. So I'm a huge fan of Africa. If I could just do Africa all the time, I would.
I tell you, everyone needs to go to Africa. You just have to go. And I firmly believe that if every American had a passport and you actually used it and traveled abroad, things would be so much better. It drives me crazy. Once you go to Africa, you realize how special the people are. And actually, the animals are amazing. It's the people that makes that country or that continent so special. It's the people. They're amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I'd like to tell the story of, I was staying at the, I can't remember, you probably remember the name of it, at Ngorongoro Crater, the one that's on the coffee plantation. And so we had, not Eliwana, is it Eliwana? Anyways.
Coffee plantation, I think. Is that what it's called?
So like we drove up the day before. We drove up this long hill, and it probably took 8 or 10 minutes for us to drive up this hill. And then the next day we're going to the crater. So we're driving down, and all these people are walking up the hill, the same hill we drove up, and they're singing. Yeah. So I said to our driver, like, why are they singing? And he said, well, they're happy to go to work. They were going to pick the coffee, and he said, this is a really good job. This coffee plantation pays well. And he said, if you work hard, because they pay by the bucket, if you work hard, you can make good money here. So he said they're very happy because they can earn money, which means that their children can stay in school and they will have food. So they're happy. And it blew my mind because I'm thinking to myself, we get in a car and we drive. We don't have to walk to work. We don't have to walk up hills. We don't have to pick, and carry these big buckets. And we don't sing.
On that note, when I was young, my very first trip, and you were talking earlier, Jay, about getting the travel bug. My very first trip that I ever went on was to Japan because my uncle was stationed in the Navy over there. And
Awesome.
My aunt had set up all these amazing, non-touristy things where you could, have dinner at her friend's house and all these things. And I went to their school of the kids my age and did a presentation on where I was from and got to meet them and everything. And at the end of the day, all of the children cleaned their school. So after school was over, all of the children happily got up, took their stuff. They were scrubbing toilets, sinks, doing the floors, picking up everything. And I literally could not believe it. And I was the same age as them. And it just set something in my mind that was like, we have so much to be grateful for. We live in such a different world. But it really changed who I was. That trip changed me very young. And I think talking about your kids getting to experience that's my love of why I love connecting families with travel, is because I think that our kids are the future, right? And they need to experience the world in order to be a brighter future, especially here in the US. Yeah. Have passports for your children, take them places, get them to experience the world as much as possible.
I want to take them to Japan. They don't clean.
It's amazing. My kids are going. That's our next 5 years. We're like, you guys are going to Japan. I got to find that school though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that's
I feel like you understand us, and maybe this is like all of us in our love of travel. But that's the other thing that really brought the three of us together, is that we have this passion, not just for travel, but the understanding of the importance of time and giving people the opportunity to make the most of the time that they have with people. So Chelsea and I tend to specialize with families mostly, and giving those opportunities to their kids, or, whatever your family is, whoever those people are, that if it's 2 days or it's 2 weeks and you're in Africa or Japan, wherever you are, that you realize and you're harnessing the power of time with those people.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it's special. It's really special to travel with your family.
Right.
I think it's something.
And it's funny, that the kids, they may complain and all this other stuff. Believe me, they appreciate it. They go back, they tell their little friends and all this other stuff. And then the next generation, when they have kids, they'll remember all those trips that we got to do. And I just hope that they're as fortunate as I've been, being in this industry and being able to do all the travel that I've done. It's the hardest thing through this pandemic. I mean, obviously it's seeing people suffer, which is horrible. But in terms of business, not so much the money and all that. It's just not being able to travel. I miss it so much. I mean, money you can get back, and that, I'm not worried about that stuff. But what I miss so much is just being out with people. Yeah. I'm not built for this stuff. I need to be out.
Yeah, we all are. Yeah, it's so hard. I'm going to Atlanta this weekend with my daughter just to stay in a hotel and whatever. And it's just to go sleep in a hotel bed. Yeah. Just something like that. It's like just these simple things, but they mean so much. And for to have memories with her that we'll be able to create this weekend of having breakfast in bed and whatever that looks like. Totally. But it's travel is so much more than just going somewhere. It's the memories that you take with you. So,
ladies, time you spend together.
Right. We went way over our call. We could probably do another hour, y'all.
All right.
Well, we're all chatters. So Jay, I don't know if you have any last thing that you want to say to any of the people that might be viewing this.
Don't wait. I mean, honestly, the only best advice I can give you right now is that get a trip on the books. Just have something to look forward to, and don't get yourself shut out, because it's going to happen. And I trust me on this. We're already seeing it right now. We're already seeing lodges, especially in Africa and places like that. they're small. They may only have 6 huts or tents. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And they're gone. So the longer you wait, you're gonna have to wait another year. And I don't know if I can do that. So start small. When you're comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable now traveling, don't. But at some point, get a trip on the books. And if it doesn't happen, things haven't gotten better, you can cancel it. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Nobody's gonna follow you for that.
Yeah, no harm, no foul. It's all right.
Well, thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Talk with us and dream with us and kind of explain to people how all of this works. Thank you guys so much for being with us. Like we said, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below in the chat and we would be happy to answer them, even if you're watching this. Maybe we have people who watch it late at night. Like, we would be happy to answer your questions. You can get in touch with any of us. Do you have the email? He's ready. You can contact Beth at tapestrytravel.com. I am at anywhereeverywheretravel.com, and Emily's at signpostdestinations.com. We're also on all the social media channels, or feel free to just ask for one of us here and we will get in touch with you. But we hope that you guys had fun today and that you had some dreams, ahead that you're looking forward to. We hope we get a lot of emails that are like, okay, I'm ready to put something on the books for 2022 at least. But thank you again, Jay. And thank you guys for being here.
It's my pleasure. It's fun. Sorry I went on too long, though. I tell you, I can't stop talking about travel.
Well, anytime you want to come talk travel with us, we're here.
Deal. All right.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.